In order to survive and thrive, businesses need to generate leads and sales, right? It's that simple. No leads, no sales usually, and it's critical to survive and thrive. So this is what I'm going to talk about in this AI SEO tip. My name is Raulf. I am an AI SEO and generative engine optimization expert. I'm also the founder of Boulder SEO Marketing. We work with a lot of local service businesses and other businesses who depend on leads and sales. So in this video, I'm going to show you a methodology called the Universal Content Engine that I presented last week at a conference in Berlin, Germany. So what you're seeing here are some of the slides from my presentation that I presented at GALA World Ready in Berlin. Also, I'm going to share the link to a blog post that I created about this methodology, and I'll be adding the recording of my session to that blog post in about 2 or 3 weeks once it's available. So definitely make sure to bookmark that blog post. But let's get into this. All right. So if you're a business owner like me, again, we depend on leads because they help us create sales, right? So there's a number of different ways that we can get leads. By far, the least expensive yet most effective way to generate leads is through organic search. So usually that's search engine optimization that will allow you to get your website or content to rank at the top in Google so that people find you, your ideal customer, and then get to your website, reaches out. You can also do email marketing, paid social, pay-per-click, LinkedIn ads, etc., etc. However, obviously I'm biased. Those other ways to create leads are quite expensive. So I'm a big fan of SEO. This is what I'm going to show in this video, how you can create content with the help of the Universal Content Engine methodology. Create content that will rank at the top in Google. As I always say, proof is in the pudding. So specifically for the conference that I spoke at last week in Berlin, I ran a test. So I want to show you right here. I'm going to do a incognito search. I'm going to search for SEO for builders. Over at Boulder SEO Marketing, we work with a lot of home builders that want to be found at the top in Google, right? So if you do a search for this keyword, SEO for builders, usually you will get an AI overview that will provide you with basic information of what you may be interested in finding. And then right here, as you can see, the first organic non-paid search result is a blog post that I put up shortly before I left for Germany. SEO for home builders with 30 years in this industry has taught me about why great contractors go invisible online. This piece was entirely created with the help of the Universal Content Engine AI SEO methodology, and I'm going to show you exactly how it's done. I'm also going to share with you exactly the prompts so that you can put this to work for yourself. All right. As always, I'm going to put the links to the information that I'm sharing here in this video right below in the description field of this YouTube video. Let's get into it. All right. So let me take a step back here. All right. Now, as we just saw before, Google is actually keeping a lot of people on their website through these AI overviews. These AI overviews are being shown in about, I think nearly 40 to 60% of all times when you perform a traditional Google search. It's getting harder and harder to get people to your website. At the same time, most of us are now also using large language models to research information, to find information. So we have ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini. These large language models, they feed on other platforms such as YouTube, LinkedIn, Reddit, Quora, etc., etc. All right. So what we have built here is a platform called Micro SEO. It used to be called BSM Copilot. We're actually relaunching this platform. This methodology allows us not only to create an incredible piece of content, this is what I'm sharing in this video, but then it's also allowing us to slice and dice the content. Let's say a pillar piece of content like that SEO for builders piece that I just showed you. With the help of our AI SEO and GEO platform, we'll then create content for LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, press releases, etc., right? So that is something that you need to do beyond just creating the content. This is a very critical aspect of this methodology. So this is what I'm not going to talk about, but this is critically important if you want to be shown in these large language models, besides just creating the content and putting it up on your website. So that's just a disclosure before we get into creating the content. Then, last but not least, before we get into the cool section here where I actually demo this methodology, 3 critical components to be successful with this methodology. Your website needs to have a certain domain authority. Some of you may remember PageRank, where Google would assign a score to every website, usually out of 100, right? There are tools such as SE Ranking that you can use to check your domain authority or domain trust. Usually the higher the domain authority of a website, the easier it is to get that kind of content to rank at the top in Google and also in these large language models. Then very critical, the EEAT score of the author associated with the content. EEAT stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Basically, before Google and these other AI search engines are going to rank your content, they want to know that you are legit, that you're somebody they can trust. Otherwise, they may show the wrong kind of content to people that are using these tools and they're not going to use them anymore. All right. Very important. And then the last piece, and this is something that I'm not going to show in this video, but here at Chris Raulf AI SEO and over at Boulder SEO Marketing, we create a virtual copy of our customers. I use virtual Chris all the time. I'm going to briefly show what that is in a second, but the better you set up your virtual copy of you, the more information you feed into that virtual copy of you, the better the content that this virtual copy of you will be able to create on your behalf. All right. And I'll briefly show you virtual Chris in a second. All right. So this is the blog post that I created in preparation for my speaking engagement in Berlin. Basically, I wanted the attendees of my session to feel like they really got their money's worth. Basically, I wanted them to feel like even just watching my presentation was worth the money they paid for this conference. I'm not going to go through everything here. I let you read this piece of content, but I would basically want to show you the prompting sequence that I created that you can also create. Simply copy the information or like the prompting sequence here, fill in the information and then run it through your favorite large language model. I'm actually going to do a live demo here. So I'm very briefly going to run through the prompting sequence here, but basically pick 3 primary keywords that you want to rank for, then fill in information about your business, then information about you. This is the EEAT aspect, right? Make it as comprehensive as possible. Talk about your accomplishments, etc., etc. Then talk about what is this piece of content about? What's the topic? The most important thing that people should learn from reading this piece of content, etc., etc. Then a little bit additional keyword research insights besides the 3 main keywords. Maybe add 3 to 5 supporting keywords, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like in a second. And then this is critically important. So this methodology, this prompting sequence here, actually allows you to turn a transcript of a conversation that you had with somebody else. It could be a conversation that you had with the head of research and development, or with your marketing manager, or with a customer success manager, where you talked about a really cool topic that you would want to turn into a blog post. This is where you would paste that transcript. Then these are the commands for the large language model on what to do. Is now turn this into a blog post using this information here and directives. I'm not going to go through everything here. Trust you can read. And then basically these are the prompts that we're going to put into the large language model. I actually went ahead and had Claude complete this. So this corresponds with what I just showed you for this exercise here. We're going to use the SEO for Home Builders blog post that I just showed you. So these are the primary keywords that I'd like to rank for, right? And this, the business context, information about Boulder SEO marketing, expert profile, information about me. Then strategic theme. Hey, this is what I want this blog post to be about. This is what, the call to action is, etc., etc. Then additional keyword research, the 3 main keywords, and then supporting keywords, secondary keywords, right? A great keyword research tool that I can highly recommend is called SE Ranking. I'm going to put the link to a free month-long trial to this tool right below in the description field of this YouTube video. Definitely use a tool to do keyword research. Then the expert interview transcript. Right? This is a made-up transcript, since I don't want to give away the real identity of the person that I had this conversation with. But you would paste that in there as well. And then again, you're going to tell the large language model, now write the blog post using these guidelines here. Don't use these AI slop giveaways, in conclusion, in summary, etc., etc. and then, do some link recommendations and then put together the SEO package for me. So let me copy this. And for this live demo, I am going to use Gemini. I want to see if it actually does a good job. So I just pasted the whole prompting sequence, including the information that I filled out. Let's see how Gemini does. Look at that. This is already the blog post that I am asking it to put together based on the instructions that I provided with the prompting, the transcript of the conversation. Look at that. This actually looks pretty darn good. I usually use Claude to create content. And then check this out, link recommendations. Hey, you want to include these links in your blog post. External links, Google search quality raters guideline. That's an excellent recommendation. SE ranking, the keyword research tool that I recommended. SEO package, meta title, meta description. I would say, thumbs up for Gemini. Actually did a really good job. Obviously, if something is not to your liking, you want to go back and forth and tell it, hey, let's beef up the first section, or let's talk about this, let's change this and that. But this is basically the method to the madness that I showed here in this video. Let me quickly show you Virtual Chris, Ultimate Virtual Chris. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I set up a project on Claude, and whatever I produce in terms of content, when I have conversations with our AI task force, when I, have sales calls, I put that into these, what I call roll-up documents, just to show you quickly what this looks like. So it's simple Google Doc that is referenced in Claude. So it's a structured data piece of content, so I can make it as easy as possible for Claude to go through the information associated with what I communicate all day long. You create very specific instructions on how Virtual Chris needs to behave. And then over time, this tool will build a memory. So it's essentially, it's a virtual copy of me that has access to a lot of relevant information that I add here on a daily basis. So this tool actually allows me to create content like this. So yeah, do I use AI? Absolutely. Is it AI generated content? Not really. It feeds on the knowledge that I have entered into Virtual Chris. All right. I hope this all makes sense. I hope you learned something new. I'm going to put all the links right below in the description field of this YouTube video. Again, Gemini did actually really good job here. I'm very impressed what it created based on the prompting that I put in here. I would say use the tool of your choice. Give it a try. This is a lot of fun. I love doing this stuff. I hope you do too. Again, Chris Raulf here. I'm an AI SEO expert, founder of Boulder SEO Marketing. If you need more leads and sales, if you don't want to do this yourself, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to talk to you. As always, stay safe and healthy, and I will catch you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.